I have been called names. I have been called football, Nigerian football. I have been called the Dembula. I have been called different names, different kinds of names. Sometimes the most important growth happens away from the spotlight. I've been quiet for a little while, not because I had nothing to say, but because I was making room to hear what truly mattered. During this season, I've been reflecting, learning, refining, and asking myself one important question: how can I create content that doesn't just inspire people, but helps them become? The answer changed everything. So I'm back, not just with more content, but with clearer mission. This month, we are not just posting, we are resetting. We will let go of limiting beliefs. We will rebuild confidence. We will create healthier habits. We will choose courage. We will grow together. So, if you've been waiting for a sign to start again, maybe this is it. Welcome to a new season. Reset what needs to go, renew what needs to grow, and rejuvenate who you are becoming. I'm so glad you are here. What if the biggest thing holding you back is not your situation? What if it is a limiting belief you have held on to for a long time? Somebody told you when you were growing up that you are not smart, probably because you were not so good in mathematics or English or any subject. And somebody told you you are dull, you are not intelligent. And it's not so much of what that person has said, but how the words hit you, especially when you have heard it over and over and over and over. You want to tend to believe it. And many a times, you believed it. A time came, it became a stronghold because you have thought about it over and over and over. It has become one with you. And so everything about you is being controlled by those words. When you want to take a step, you retrieve because somebody said you are not smart and you believed it. When you want to start a business, you say, no, not me. I am not smart. When you want to start, you have this idea to start a YouTube channel or to start a movement or to write a book. You say, no, not me. I'm not smart. Just because somebody said it. The words of that person is not as powerful as the way you received it. Since you have believed it, you have been held bound by the power of those words. And so it controls you. Let me share my own personal experience with you. While growing up, or let me start from my birth story. I was born a 10-pound baby, and there was this joy of this baby, this beautiful baby, this big baby when I was a baby. When I started taking maybe my baby steps, and we had a nanny then, and my nanny would not want to carry me because I was heavy. So if we had to go get something and it had to take us 30 minutes, My nanny never minded that we would spend an hour because she would hold me by the hand and she would say, "You have to walk by yourself." So she would just hold me by the hand because she didn't want to carry me because I was like a burden in quote. So the joy of this big baby started dwindling because the baby now became a burden. And the same thing when I got into the elementary school, everybody would, especially if you like to sleep, maybe at school as a little baby, you're just a little sleepy. So your teachers will pass some comments that it's because you are big. And your friends will joke around, they will call you names. I have been called names. Some names I don't want to say here today, but I'm going to say some. I have been called football. I don't know how that sounds. So people even say Nigerian football. I don't know how big Nigerian football was, but I have been called Nigerian football. I have been called the Dembula. I have been called different names, different kinds of names. But the one that broke the camel's back was we were at home, we had this function, and everybody came around. My cousins were all there, and we were in the room, and we were trying to sort of change into some other kind of clothes. And I was shocked when my cousin yelled. Cousin said, "Look at you." Then I turned around. She said, "You are so big, you're not going to get somebody to marry you." Oh my God. I must have bottled up a lot, or I must have coped with a lot of name calling. I must have coped with a lot of body shaming. I must have coped with a lot of weight stigma. But that broke the camel's back. I didn't know why, probably because it was tied to you will not get somebody to marry you. So it was so bad that I started having suicide ideation. I said no, I was going to take my life until her mom intervened. Coincidentally, the mom is also a plus size woman. And so she encouraged me and she told me, "Never mind your cousin. See, I am also big and I got married to somebody that I love and I have wonderful children." So I was encouraged, but those words never left me. So I started getting into different kinds of diet ideas. I would do some crazy weight loss challenges. I will put myself into situations that would even hurt me to the point that I had ulcer then because I wasn't eating. I wanted to be slim. I wanted to get somebody to marry me. Her words were always ringing, and those words were controlling me to the point that anytime I wanted to wear some kind of clothes, I would remember, "You're not beautiful. You're too fat. You're too big. You will never get anyone to marry you. So why are you bothering yourself? You don't need to look good. You don't need to wear this kind of clothes." I was actually always looking for clothes that will hide my body because I hated my body. That is how terrible it was. Not until I started reading, I started learning, I started attending seminars, then I realized that I was not defined by the way I look. I I was not defined by the way people see me, that my perception of myself was much more important than what people say or than what people saw and than what people perceived. So little by little, I started speaking positive words to myself. I started releasing some negative ideas, negative beliefs, limiting beliefs. I believed I wasn't beautiful. I believe I was too fat. I believe I wasn't I wasn't good enough. I believe I would never get somebody to marry me. I believed I am doomed. These were the words that were always coming to me. So I started releasing those words one after the other. And I am going to take you through that same process today because I took some steps and I'm going to ask you to do some of those things this week. What is the challenge this week? You are going to release some of these limiting beliefs. And how are you going to do it? Very simple. Get for yourself a blank or a plain sheet of paper. Then you are going to write this week, I release, put that limiting belief there. If you have believed that probably somebody called you lazy, and you believed it so well, so much that you would not want to take any step. You would even say, I'm not an early riser. You would say, I cannot do that because I am lazy. You believed it and it started controlling you. You're going to write, this week I release laziness. If somebody called you ugly, because to them, they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Everybody has a right to have their own opinion and their own perception of things. But how do you see yourself? What do you believe about yourself? So it is not always about what is said, but how you received it and how much you believe it and how much you allowed the words to control your life. So you are going to write down, if somebody told you you are ugly, you're going to write, I release, this week, I release ugliness. That's what they called you. If somebody said you are not smart, you are not intelligent, you're going to write down, this week, I release maybe dullness, or this week, I release failure. Maybe somebody called you a failure. You're a failure. When you say, this week, I release failure. Write it down and don't joke with it because it works. Then you're going to take that sheet of paper where you wrote what you are releasing. You're going to tear it, shred it, tear it off. And as you're tearing it, you will not believe that it is registering in your mind that this is not me. I am tearing this off. This does not represent me. So tear it off or tear it up, shred it if you can, crush it if you can, and put it in the trash. Then you're going to get another plain sheet of paper and you're going to write what you want. If you need to do a research to find out the opposite of those limiting beliefs, please do. You could ask ChatGPT. You could check your dictionary for the opposite of ugliness or ugly. I think the opposite of ugly is beauty or beautiful. So you're going to write, I am beautiful. So you have exchanged ugliness for beauty. Then you will place that paper. You may use a sticky note, or you can use maybe a tape, a sellotape, and tape it where you're going to see it. Then you read it to yourself every morning and every evening, or every time you see it. But make sure you see it every day. You put it where you can see it every day and read it to yourself. You will say those words throughout this week until you believe it, until it becomes one with you. So you're going to write, if somebody told you you are lazy, you're going to, and you have written down, this week I release laziness. So you're going to replace it with, I am hardworking. That means I am not lazy. If somebody told you that you are too fat, you're going to write, this week I release fatness. Then you replace it with, I have I have my ideal body weight. And I know by the time we do all this, we will also show us ways. That's why I said we are resetting. It will show us ways in which you can get to where you want to be. We're going to not just write those things down, we're going to also take steps towards achieving those goals. There is something they call body dysmorphic syndrome. This is a situation that makes you, it is actually a mental health situation that makes you to look at yourself even when you don't have that flaw. That is what will make somebody that is slim, that has an ideal body weight, to believe that he or she is too fat. So you are going to write those words to actually help you to erase that belief. After you have taken this challenge, you will come back and put in the comments, challenge accepted and challenge taken. Then the next thing I want to tell you is, like I said, we are not just going to be talking about what you are releasing. We're going to be taking steps towards making all these things happen. So I want to invite you to join my waitlist. It's about restoring, rebuilding, and rejuvenating. We are all working together. It's not about you alone. You have a community of people working towards the same goal. And what is our goal in this community? We are resetting, we are restoring, and we are rejuvenating. So I want to encourage you, join the waitlist. The link is in my bio, or you can click the link in the description to join the waitlist. I'll see you on the other side of the waitlist.